TNA Wrestling. Just it's summertime, and you know what that means. Slammiversary. It's going to be Sunday, June 28th in Boston. How about that? It's going to be a huge show. It always is, always a lot of fun. And how about that TNA Knockouts division? I mean, when you talk about women's wrestling, you can go back in time and research and do whatever you need to do there on Google, and you could see that really this women's revolution in professional wrestling, TNA Knockouts was a huge part of that, getting that started. And they just continue to grow. And one of the top stars that is in the TNA Knockouts division, Elayna Black, she has come a long way in a short period of time. It's just so awesome. And just want to ask you, first of all, you got Slammiversary coming up. Tell me a little bit about Slammiversary and just hopefully a title match for Elayna Black.
I'm super excited for Slammiversary. I grew up a huge TNA fan, so I'm happy to be a part of my first one. Look, all I'm gonna say is my eyes have been on that TNA Knockouts title since I walked in the doors on the AMC premiere January 15th. And that goal has not changed 6 months later. So with that being said, right now, I don't know what Slam looks like for me. I know I'm going to be there. I'm going to be causing chaos. I'm going to be getting into some things. Maybe I'll be watching the TNA Knockouts title match. Maybe I'll insert myself into the TNA Knockouts title match. I don't know what that has in store yet. However, I will say I understand that Zaya Brookside had some issues. She has some personal beef with Lay, maybe some underlying jealousy. I don't know what the deal is, but I understand that she has some business to take care of. So, you know what? More power to her. Go handle your business. I get it. But guess what? As soon as Slam's over, I don't care who comes out with that title. It could be Lay, it could be Zaya, it could be another random woman that they decide to throw in. I don't care who it is. After Slam, I'm coming for that TNA Knockouts title. And my goal is to walk in to Chicago in August at lockdown with that strap around my waist. So I'm manifesting it. I'm putting it out into the open. Let's see if it happens, but I don't doubt that it will.
You mentioned Chicago, and Chicago is the home of Elayna Black. So, with that said, bringing that you brought up Chicago, what is it like just being from Chicago and possibly have an opportunity like that in Chicago?
Hey, I love Chicago. I miss it every day. The only thing I do not miss is how cold it is almost all year round. I hate being cold, and I don't know if moving to Florida just made me a little bit more of a wimp, but once it's below 60 degrees, I'm freezing. So I don't know if that's for me anymore, but however, Chicago has great food. It's a great city. The energy at any Chicago show is always incredible, especially wrestling. I think anytime any wrestling company comes to Chicago, people look forward to how amped up the crowd is. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. So many great people, talented people come from Chicago, myself included, obviously. But another big one of my biggest inspirations, CM Punk. He's a Chicago guy, so I think anybody from Chicago kind of has a little bit of grit to them, and they kind of know how to be a pretty good superstar. So all I'm saying is, I think Chicago breeds the best. Look at Mustafa Ali. He's also from Chicago, also helped train me coming up. So Chicago's filled with great people, great talent, great food, great fans, and hopefully it'll be filled with me as the Knockouts title, as the Knockouts champion.
It's something that you mentioned that too, and I want to say this about the food, especially. So, Elayna Black, are we going deep dish pizza or are we going Chicago style hot dog?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I feel like when I answer these questions, I really make myself sound like a horrible Chicagoan because I I don't like tomato sauce. So I will eat deep dish, but I scrape off the top. So it's like I don't know if that even still counts. And I love a good Chicago dog. However, I know this is like a criminal thing to say being from Chicago. I do like ketchup on my hot dogs, which is like a crime in Chicago, but I'll admit it, it's true. I love a good hot dog with ketchup, and I'm not a big fan of tomato sauce, but a Portillo's cake shake, a Portillo's hot dog with ketchup, come on. It's a dream.
Portillo's, Portillo's.
Yes.
See, I'm going Italian beef sandwich. That's what I'm
Okay,
going.
yeah.
And they opened one in Orlando, Florida. This
They
is
did. Yes, they did. I actually just
well,
ordered like maybe a month ago. I really wanted a Portillo's chocolate cake and I saw that they delivered it. So I ordered one for myself. No shame. I had to get a little taste of home. It is what it is.
let me tell you this about the hot dog. You could eat it any way you want, Elayna, because your character, your persona, you go against the grain. You do your own thing. You're unique.
Exactly.
That's how you can eat your Chicago hot dog however you want, Elayna Black.
Exactly. that's my next answer. Anytime someone tries to give me crap for how I like my Chicago dogs, I'm gonna remember you said that.
Elayna, this journey for you has just been it's so interesting to me because tell me if I got it right now. You were in high school, I believe Plainfield South High School, and then but you wanted to become a professional wrestler. That was your dream. And you dropped out of high
Yep.
school and pursued that. What was it like
Yep.
for you and also family? Just telling them, look, high school's not for me. I want to go to wrestling. I want to do this. What was that whole process like at that time?
Yeah, honestly, obviously it was scary because you don't ever want to make anybody disappointed in your decisions, and also just taking a risk like that and kind of like just a leap of faith and kind of betting on yourself is also scary, especially being that young. But I think I've always just been a very determined person, and to a fault sometimes. It doesn't matter what you tell me, I'm going to do what I want to anyways, and I'm going to make it happen. So it was kind of like I knew school was never really for me. I knew I didn't want to go to college. I knew I wanted to make it to WWE early, like early in my goal was 18. I ended up getting there at 19, so I wasn't too far off, but that was always my goal. I wanted to get there young. So I remember I told everybody that that first year of high school, it was my freshman year. I was like, you guys will never see me again. I'm never gonna be back. This is it. Like I'm gonna go be a wrestler. And no one, no one believes it because they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. But I never came back. I remember that summer I sat my parents down. I think I might have wrote them a letter just because I've always been, it's easier for me to get my words out on paper. So I wanted to really express to them what I was feeling and make them understand that I wasn't just saying this off the rip. This is something that I genuinely needed and wanted. And I just told them, I had found a wrestling school that was about an hour away from me, and I was 15 at the time. So really no other places were letting you train that young. And I finally found this place with a great trainer. And wrestling's wild. We would train from like 8 p.m. to 1 in the morning sometimes, and I couldn't drive, and then I'd have to wake up for school at 6 in the morning the next day. And I was not going to let that affect me being a wrestler. So I kind of explained all that to them, and they were worried about it, obviously, having a backup plan and everything like that. But in my head, that means you're ready to fail. So I never wanted that. I was always just very determined, and I knew that whatever happened, I was gonna be all right, and I didn't need a backup plan. And luckily, it worked out in my favor because I got fired from WWE, and I still didn't need a backup plan. I'm still doing my thing, and I'm very grateful for how it worked out. And luckily, they were actually very understanding and very supportive. They found me a program where I could technically get like my diploma in like 6 months, like online. It was the easiest thing in the world. I don't even know how it counts as a diploma, but nonetheless, they let me do it. They were very supportive, and my mom, I couldn't drive, so she would drive me to wrestling training every night for hours, until I made it. So I'm very grateful that I had very supportive parents, and they believed in me and wanted me to follow my dreams, because I know not everyone has that luxury, and not everyone is that fortunate, and not everyone has that support system. So I got very lucky in that aspect. So I try to make them proud now, and give back when I can.
Oh, Elena, I mean, your success, I mean, obviously you worked hard for it, but at a
Mhm.
young age, you were there doing it at a very good level. I mean, you watch those NXT shows, you watch TNA Wrestling now, and seeing how you just evolved there and what you did there, it happened. I don't want to say too quickly or quickly, but it wasn't something that took a long time for you to do. I'm curious,
Mhm.
when you're in whether it's TNA wrestling or even before that with WWE NXT, was there that moment where you were like, "Hey, wow, I'm doing this well and it's going well," and you're like, "See, mom, see, dad, you put your
Mhm.
faith in me, and I told you I'd be able to do it, and look at me now." Was there ever that moment?
Yeah, I feel like I had like a few moments of that feeling here and there throughout my career, but something I realized just recently is I think, and maybe it's just because I got into it so young and everything just moves so fast, not only in life, but especially this business. And especially, I got to WWE when I was 19. So navigating not only life or not only wrestling, but also having to navigate growing up in regular life was kind of crazy. Um, but I guess just, sorry, what was your original question again?
Was there that moment? Were there any moments or
Oh, yeah,
something
yeah.
that you were like, hey, I made it and look at how I'm
Yeah.
doing and it was worth it?
Yeah, so I feel like because it moves so fast, I would have moments of that here and there, but I never really took the time to sit and slow down for a second and realize this is really cool. And this is what I dreamed about when I was 8 years old. And I don't want to say I regret that because I try not to have any regrets, but I think just as I get older and more time goes on, I really try to take the time to slow down and appreciate what I'm doing and realize how cool it all really is and how, so many people would kill to have this life and everything like that. I just try to be very grateful and try to slow down a little bit because I think for a long time I didn't do that. And, I think that it's very important to do that. But I think probably the biggest one was obviously getting an action figure is so cool because you grow up playing with them. That's like a big I made it moment. Getting in the game is a big I made it moment because that's the only video game I ever played besides Sims was WWE. Um, so those are two, and getting your own merch, like everything like that, the obvious answers are cool I made it moments. But I think one of my biggest ones was kind of right before I had gotten released. It was for a few months I was working this storyline with Roxanne, Bailey, and Stephanie and Julia sprinkled in here and there. And Roxanne and Bailey are already two of my best friends, but getting to know Stephanie and Julia, we all became so close. And I think we all just had a common understanding of loving wrestling and wanting it to be good and caring and putting our heart and soul into it. And also just having great chemistry outside of the ring. Like we would be none of us spoke the same language. One of us are speaking English, translating to the other one speaking Japanese, the other one speaking Spanish. Like it was ridiculous, but we all had such like a solid, group for those last few months there, kind of doing all those storylines together. And then I believe it was Vengeance Day. I want to say February of 2025. So like 3 months before I got fired, we had main evented in Washington D.C. It was me versus Roxanne versus Julia versus Bailey, and that was kind of like the last match of like the few months of storyline we were doing. And I just remember like I had so much fun in that match, and I think it went really well. And I just remember standing there during the championship introductions and being like, this is cool. Like we built this. We put so much effort into this storyline and now we're main eventing. I'm main eventing with my best friend, someone I watched growing up, someone else I got to, grow to know and love in my time here because wrestling, brings people together in that way. So that the Vengeance Day main event 2025 was another moment where I was like, this is cool and I'm very grateful.
But just watching TNA wrestling and seeing you on there and seeing how your character keeps evolving and keeps developing, it's just very cool to see. And by the way, you could see that every Thursday Night Impact, and its new home of AMC and AMC Plus. And it's always a great show, a lot of great talent, a lot of great action storylines, really good. I'm curious because you had this where you left WWE, that was your time was done there. You joined TNA Wrestling. What is it like? And we'll wrap this up, but what is it like for you to be a TNA knockout? And you know the history of wrestling because you're a student and fan of it. And what was it like
Yep.
when WWE is now, NXT is now teaming with TNA wrestling and having that whole
Yeah.
dynamic?
Yeah, I think it's great. I started watching wrestling when I was 8, and I obviously when you first get into it, you're just still learning. So I didn't know about any other wrestling companies at first. I only knew of WWE. And then I had learned about TNA, I think like a year after getting into WWE. So I became obsessed with TNA too, and I was 8, 9 years old saying, I want to be a WWE diva and a TNA knockout. Like, I always wanted to do both. I remember I would say, like, because I wanted to experience both. I knew I was either going to start at TNA and go to WWE, or I was going to go to WWE and go to TNA. I always wanted to do both. It was always my dream because I loved I loved TNA. I thought it was sick. I grew up loving, Mickey James, the beautiful people, uh anyone under the sun. I loved TNA. So it's very cool to see them kind of merge together because when I first started watching, I think TNA was on Spike at the time. And at the time there was no AEW didn't exist or any other really big wrestling promotion that was on TV. So WWE and TNA were the two that people would watch, and it was kind of like they were in competition a little bit. And people were watching and comparing and everything like that. So now to see their partners, I think it's so cool and something that people probably never expected. And now we get to merge the best of both worlds, and I think it's cool, especially if you grew up a fan of both companies like I did, and to kind of see the change and everything over the years is really cool.
Well, you're continuing to evolve and grow and helping TNA Wrestling in the Knockouts division keep going higher and higher. Want to thank you so much. Don't forget, we've got Sunday, June 28th in Boston, TNA Slammiversary. It's one of their hottest shows of the year. It's going to be great. And Elayna, just continued success. Thank you so much. I have to close with this. Couple of things, Elayna, I have to close with. Joliet.
Okay, give it to me.
So Joliet. Am I Joliet County? Now I know this is too young for you, but not for me. The Blues Brothers. Are you familiar at all with the Blues Brothers movie? Is this something
I,
that Joliet?
I am not, but
And I'm
also
putting my
I'm
Cubs hat on.
horrible. Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Fun fact, my family, we grew up on the south side of Chicago. So my family are big Sox fans. However,
Uh,
I grew up, no, it's okay because I grew up a CM Punk fan and he was a Cubs fan. So I was like, screw you guys.
yes.
I like the Cubs. But yeah,
Elayna,
I'm
thank you
not
so
very
much.
I'm not very educated on movies, but we'll get there.
Okay.
Thank you.